Okay, thank you. And a quick introduction. Hello, everybody. Scott Woodward here again, getting set for race 2 of the TCR Europe Trophy. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And again, pardon any mistakes. It is my first time doing it, so I've got a mistake to correct about the qualifying, but we'll do that when we get into the broadcast. So stand by wherever you're watching, and good to have you. And let's get this second race underway. So hope you enjoy. Good to have you with us. Hello and welcome once again to Adria International Raceway, which is an hour's south of Venice in the Veneto region of Italy. For this, the second race of the weekend of the all-important TCR Europe Trophy. This is where some of Europe's top drivers from around the regional and national tin top championships that run the TCR formula come here to do battle and earn the title of the best in Europe. This should be a fascinating contest, particularly as we had a very entertaining and intriguing first race that saw a breakaway top 3 and plenty of action down the field, with more in prospect with the grid. Hello everybody, Scott Woodward here on the commentary, and this is your starting grid. I have to make a correction, is that this is the reverse top 10 of the grid from when it was in qualifying rather than the race. So it is going to be Florian Thoma and Aurélien Comte on the front row of the grid, from Francisco Abreu and Antiburi, Maxime Putti and Luigi Ferrara on row 3, ahead of Luca Engstler and Giacomo Altoe, with the all-important 5th row being race 1 winner Josh Files alongside the Italian touring car maestro Gabriele Tarquini. Then we've got Plamen Kralev, Giovanni Altoe, who is the top DSG car, at least in the points, and going down to 19th place, which is Daniele Capellari, who had some problems with a right front puncture. So this is Adria International Raceway. Air temperature is now 17 degrees, track temperature is 20, and the humidity continues to go down. This weekend we're down to 59% humidity. So despite the fact it's October, clearly the weather gods weren't listening in Italy, because it's certainly lovely conditions, bright sunshine, a little bit of a haze in the air, but it's a wonderful portion of the afternoon to get this second race. Here's your entry list for the weekend. Drivers to watch out for, of course, Aurélien Comte, who will start this race on the front row of the grid. Luca Engstler, who had some problems in race 1, he'll have to charge up from what looks to be 8th, 7th on the grid. Antiburi had a good race too, 4th, and Francisco Abreu is a quick driver too. Giacomo Altoe and, of course, Gabriele Tarquini. Florian Thoma will start on pole position, with Plamen Kralev also looking to make some ground up, as Giovanni Altoe, who is the brother of Giacomo, and, of course, the couple of drivers at the bottom being Maxime Putti and race 1 winner Josh Files. So there is your pole sitter, car number 39, the young Swiss driver Florian Thoma, already a race winner in TCR. He took a victory early on in the season in TCR Germany, in Oschersleben, blowing a kiss to the camera. He's certainly got quite a few fans, hopefully, in the comments. And hello to everyone who may be watching around the world, wherever you may be watching, whether it's on the TCR Series website, on Facebook, or on YouTube, or elsewhere. Great to have you with us. Well, these are the points heading into the second race. Of course, points awarded for drivers and teams. It's Josh Files that heads the standings with 35 points, ahead of Giacomo Altoe on 27, then Aurélien Comte 3rd with 20, Antiburi 4th with 17, and Maxime Putti 5th with 16. Then Florian Thoma, Luigi Ferrara, Luca Engstler, Giovanni Altoe, and Francisco Abreu. Then looking down the order, the only 2 cars that haven't scored any points are the Emanuele Berton, and also we have Gabriele Tarquini. Now, the reason why he scores no points is because, to remind you, the Hyundai i30N TCR car which he's driving runs as a temporary homologation, so it is transparent from any points and does not score any results, in any points to do with the total. So even though he finished second, those points per second went to Josh Files' teammate, Giacomo Altoe. This is Aurélien Comte, who is very skilled in one-make racing. He's raced Clios, he's raced Porsches, he's raced also Seats, and in the Peugeot RCZ Cup, he's won 2 championships there, so lots of one-make racing. And now he's competing in a very competitive car in the 308 Racing Cup that's been adapted, thanks to balance of performance, to meet TCR standards. And he's been very quick over the weekend, and he will start, of course, on the front row of the grid alongside Florian Thoma. 3rd place on the grid, looking to make after a rather tumultuous and character-building race 1, is Francisco Abreu, the TCR Iberico champion, also second in the TCR Portugal standings, and very quick on his day if things work out for him. He had a bit of trouble with a couple of bits of contact, and also he had a bit of an excursion off the track and a drive-through penalty for track limits, so he'll want to try and end the weekend with as many points as possible, and if he can, possibly also end it on a high. Fourth place on the grid, Antti Buri, the former Porsche Finland Cup champion, also a former Formula Ford racer, and he's done 2 seasons now in TCR. Of course, he's taken a total of 4 victories, 3 last year and 1 this year, which saw him get 8th in the ADAC TCR standings. Somebody that, of course, that race 1 winner Josh Files knows all too well. The pit lane and the grid, a hive of activity as always with these TCR events. Plenty of team personnel down there as they gear up for the start. And the very lovely TCR Europe grid girls make their way off the circuit as we get set. And this is the man that will line up on 5th on the grid, the young Belgian Maxime Putty, who has already won races in the past 2 years in TCR Benelux. He runs in one of the WRT Volkswagen Golfs. WRT also the team that runs the Leopard racing cars that run in the International Championship. That championship still has to be concluded in a couple of weekends' time in Dubai, where one of their drivers, Jean-Carl Vernet, is in contention for the title. And he's going to be joined by Gordon Shedden, taking the place of Rob Huff, who is otherwise occupied in other touring car commitments. So we'll wait to see how Gordon gets on. He's, of course, a multiple-time British champion, and he'll be one to watch out for. Another one to watch out for in this race is this man, Luigi Ferrara. Now, he was up as high as 4th in race 1 before he had some contact and also had a drive-through penalty, which means that he will start this race thanks to the reverse qualifying results for race 2 in the top 10 from P6. So he could be one to charge his way through the order, provided the cars behind him don't get better starts and start to move forwards up the grid. Luigi, of course, himself fairly experienced in single-seaters and also in GTs and tin tops. You can see that we are later on into the afternoon here. It is about 2:30 in the afternoon local time here in Italy. So, of course, wherever it is around the world, whether it's an morning, afternoon or evening, again, we thank you for joining us. Of course, TCR Europe is one of the centrepiece events of the European calendar in TCR racing. And as we said, some of Europe's finest drivers that are eligible to compete are here to race, including Luca Engstler, son of Franz Engstler, who is, of course, a touring car legend, and, of course, he runs the team himself. And Luca has been top rookie in the ADAC TCR Championship, finished 12th in the standings, and he had some very bad luck in race 1, some mechanical issues that dropped him way down the order. I think he finished about a couple of laps down after he came in to resolve any issues that he had. Still plenty of spectators, still plenty of interest here around the circuit at Adria. And here is one of their local favourites. This is Giacomo Altoe, who has run in the target competition Honda, teammate to Josh Files, and he finished a superb 3rd on the road, but he gets the points for 2nd thanks to Tarquini's transparency after running in the Hyundai. He could potentially, if he gets a good run off the start, be someone in contention for victory, and it was pretty much nose to tail between the top 3 pretty much the entire race, although in the end it did seem as though that Tarquini just dropped away a little bit in the Hyundai and lost out in the end on the road. But 2nd place is still 2nd place, but it was 2nd place to this man, the double TCR Germany champion and also 2017 Middle Eastern champion and TCR Europe points leader, Josh Files. He wants to end the season on a high with the title of effectively best in Europe in TCR if he possibly can. It's going to be a tall order. Of course, nothing is guaranteed on this reverse grid because, of course, as well, he has to start alongside someone very formidable indeed in Gabriele Tarquini. And for those of you who are not familiar with Gabriele Tarquini, he is somebody who is pretty much set into touring car legend and folklore. He's somebody who has raced many, many years in touring cars. He has just about almost 20 years worth, or even 30 years worth of touring car experience, and he lines up in this, the brand new Hyundai i30N TCR, which, of course, even though it's under temporary homologation, certainly is proving its worth in the hands of Gabriele. It did so a couple of weekends ago in China at the Zhejiang circuit, and its very first ever competitive race weekend. He and Alain Menu took to the track. They started on the 7th row of the grid. Gabriele started 14th and incredibly drove through to win on the car's debut. So he will want to continue his development. And he was even saying in the press conference yesterday after the qualifying session that this car for him is very much like a small child in the way that he's sort of grown up with it. He's been able to build it up and develop it in the way that he wants to develop a touring car. And I'm pretty sure that both, along with Alain Menu, Hyundai are pretty confident to let him do that as they wish. So it's good to have him on the project. There's a lot of confidence and a lot of belief in that system as well. Plamen Kralev, who starts 11th on the grid. He's somebody who's been a higher-up runner in TCR Italy. Had 1 or 2 problems when he was battling towards the bottom end of the field, but hopefully he'll try and redeem himself from 11th place. He seems to be all smiles in the cockpit of the number 44 Craft Racing Audi RS3 LMS. And it looks as though we do have a couple of runs here. Here's the official starting grid again then. So, Florian Thoma and Aurélien Comte will start on the front row of the grid with Thoma on pole. Abreu and Burri on row 2. Then Putti and Ferrara on row 3 ahead of Luca Engstler and Giacomo Altoe on row 4. Then the all-important 5th row is the one to watch because, of course, it will be Gabriele Tarquini in the Hyundai and race 1 winner and TCR Europe Trophy points leader Josh Fire. Actually, Files and Tarquini ahead of each other, 9th and 10th. Then we have Plamen Kralev and Giovanni Altoe. Then Kevin Giacon should be there, hopefully, in 13th place in the Technodom Opel Astra. Tolkachev in 14th place in the first of the sets. Then Oli Kangas and Denis Grigoriev, Sandro Pelati, Ermano Dionisio and Daniele Capellari round out what should be a 19-car grid. I am seeing a gap on the grid on the left-hand side, which says to me that, unfortunately, I don't believe we have Kevin Giacon on the grid, unfortunately. He had turbocharger problems this morning before he went out for race 1, and because of that, I'm afraid, did not take the start. And it looks as though those turbo problems have continued to manifest themselves. So the cars head off on the grid where my commentary box is situated. They've got the window open. I can hear the cars set off from the start and finish straight up to the formation lap. And just to reiterate, this is a 1.6 mile circuit, 2.79 kilometres, and confirmation of the points at the bottom then. Finals with 35 points. Giacomo Altoe on 27. Comte with his 3rd place, of course, 4th on the road, but 3rd in the point scoring positions, with Burri, Putti and Thoma in the mix, and Thoma, of course, will start from pole position. Ferrara, Engstler, Giovanni Altoe, who, of course, is highest in the DSG standings, and then Francisco Abreu is in P10, with the rest of the order scoring at least 5 points. And they got those points either through completing up to 5 eligible TCR events, and also possibly qualifying in the top 5 of the qualifying as well. So Josh Files, even though he qualified 2nd, because that man Gabriele Tarquini was in a car that cannot and will not score points, it was Files that inherited the top 5, the 5 points he gets for pole position, and then that went down across the grid down to whoever started in P6. But Gabriele Tarquini, remember, as we said, started 14th, won the race in China in Zhejiang a couple of weeks ago. So the fact that he starts 10th, it's not impossible, but of course he's got 2 very quick and very rapid target competition Honda Civics. As we see here, good to see that Stefano Camini helping that target competition. Of course, double and what's set to be, unfortunately, outgoing, I think, TCR International Champion. Good to see him in the mix. One thing as well, if you're wondering if any of the European TCR International drivers, top drivers in the field in that championship, are not here, the rules state that if you are, as of, I think it was September 30th, from the last round, if you're in the top 10, you are not eligible. So drivers like Stefano Camini, or possibly any other drivers in the mix, like maybe Fabrice Verviche, or possibly a couple other drivers, including guys like James Nash or Dan Lloyd, they're not here because, of course, they don't, unfortunately, meet the standings, nor either is Attila Tashi in the Honda as well. But hopefully we'll see them back into competition very soon. They will continue their exploits on the international stage. So the cars form up on the grid one by one. So it's Florian Thoma, the young Swiss driver, on the Liqui-Moly Engstler Volkswagen on the left-hand side in pole position. On the right will be the white and black Peugeot of Aurélien Comte. The last cars into position with Daniele Capellari into his grid slot, and the green flag will wave at the back of the field. We're all set for race 2 of the TCR Europe Trophy for 2017 here at Adria. Thoma on the left on pole, Comte on the right in 2nd place. Who's going to get the run to turn 1? Revs rise, and the second race of the weekend goes out when the lights go out. Let's go racing one more time. Poor start from Abreu from the 2nd row of the grid, but a cracking getaway from Thoma. Thoma gets the whole shot possibly into turn 1. Comte goes up the inside. One of the Hondas is on the grass as Thoma sweeps across and takes the lead. Putti's had a great start from what was 5th on the grid. Tries to go around the outside, but Burri takes full advantage. And now it's side by side for 2nd place. It's now Burri on the right in the Audi, Poleman Thoma on the left in the Volkswagen. But it is Aurélien Comte in the Peugeot that turns into turn 2 in front. Putti goes up the inside of Thoma. Also, Luigi Ferrari made a great start. Meanwhile, Tarquini's been hung out to dry by Luca Engstler, and he's trying to make his way through the field from 10th on the grid. Down to turn 3. It's Aurélien leading with Burri in 2nd place, Comte in 3rd. Thoma goes side by side with Ferrara. A little bit of jostling for position, but I think Putti's got through. Ferrara, I think, is on the inside trying to hold on. Lots of jostling in the mid-pack and down towards the rear, but Comte still leads. Burri trying to go with him, then Putti, Ferrara, Thoma, and then I think possibly that is Giacomo Altoe up to 6th position. Files is 7th and still ahead of Tarquini, crucially. but I'm sure Gabrielli won't want to stay there for too much longer. It's a 25-minute race plus 1 lap, and we've got plenty of action here, especially with the reverse grid. Ooh, look at the inside, there's contact between Toma and Ferrara. Ferrara gets elbowed out wide, loses a place, and now the two Hondas are now putting him under massive pressure. And now it's side by side as Altoe tries to go around the outside of race 1 winner Josh Files. And they will go toe-to-toe down the pit straight, but it's Compt that leads. Bury about 0.6 of a second behind in second place. Putty is now third. It is 3 abreast behind them, though, as Tarquini goes up the inside of both of the Hondas to make a pass on Altoe. Files gets through. Ferrara bulks them all up, and up the inside of all of them goes Tarquini. That's a fantastic pass. So in the mix on the pit straight, Tarquini makes up 3 spaces to go up from what was 8th up to possibly 5th. Ferrara's fighting back on the outside down towards turn 2. Tarquini has the line and he's through. Great move. That's why they call him the maestro. Great pass, and Files also follows through in P6. So we said that Tarquini can charge through. We weren't kidding. He did this in Zhejiang in China, and he's at it again. Files now up into what is now 6th position. Ferrara down to 7th. Altoe tries to make a move for 8th place, and they're all over each other for 9th behind. We've got Abreu. I think that's Engstler in there too. Plamen Kralev, Tolkachev is in there as well. Giovanni Altoe should be still the top DSG gearbox car. But so far it seems though that Compt is not really getting away from Bury, and Putty's going with them as well. So Peugeot, Audi, Volkswagen, then Volkswagen in 4th, Hyundai in 5th. Then the Honda of Josh Files in P6. And then we have Ferrara and Giacomo Altoe currently holding station in 8th position, followed by Abreu and then Luca Engstler. Some battling in the mid-pack here. Tolkachev battling with his fellow DSG car. That's Sandro Pilati. And then we have, just behind him, Ollie Kangas as we head into lap 3 here at Adria. Gap across the line last time around was 0.6 of a second. Fastest lap of the race goes to Gabriele Tarquini, and he didn't even set a fastest sector. Worked that one out. So Putty got the fastest first sector. Toma was fastest in sectors 2 and 3, but ultimately Gabriele strung them all together and put in a 1:21.316. So he's now trying to work his way up through the order, still holding in P5. His next target is going to be Florian Toma in the leading Look from Ollie Engstler. He's already going up the inside into turn 3. Gabriele is on the hunt here. Just trying to get his nose up the inside. Toma will give him space, but the Volkswagen has enough traction. But look at the straight line capability of the Hyundai now as they come up towards turns 4 and 5 at the chicane. Tarquini will force the issue, and Toma just glides the Volkswagen across the chicane and up towards turn 6. So he's not there just yet, but Gabriele will use every trick in the book. He's built up over some 20, 25 years plus of experience. And there's a reason why he's British, world and European champion, and including that's a tactic, flash the headlights, and that's put Toma a little bit wide. As up at the front, we've got a top 3 really scrapping amongst each other, but they've got to be careful, because if they continue to battle each other, the easier it's going to be for Tarquini and for Josh Files to start to close in. End of a lap. Now on to lap 4 here at Adria. Still Compt from Bury, from Putty. Now here comes Tarquini flashing the headlights up the inside into turn 1. And that looked as easy as pie as a lock-up going through. Goes a bit too deep. I spoke too soon because Toma comes back and they want the exit. There's almost contact as Tarquini goes to move across. Finds the Swiss on Mick and elbowing us the way. Get out of it, Florian. This is my 4th place if you don't mind. And back under brakes for turn 2. So Tarquini up to P4, but effectively the points will still count as Toma in P4 if you're still following. And then Files is currently in P6. Now then, meanwhile, Putty is trying to put Bury under pressure with Compt in the mix there too. Meanwhile, Files has a look up the inside of Toma. The Swiss driver gives him room. And Josh Files follows through Tarquini into 5th on the road. So poleman Florian Toma, what was a good start, see him tumble down the order. Here is the start. So when the lights went out, it's a great getaway initially from the front row. Poor start from Abreu. Maxime Putty flew off the line like a scalded cat. He came up from the 3rd row of the grid in P5, charged up, looked to it go around the outside of Anti-Bury. Toma ran deep into turn 1. That allowed Compt to get through. And this is the contact further on. Toma with a very eventful first lap that ended with Ferrara getting elbowed out wide thanks to the contact. So he was looking to make some redemption for what happened in race 1 after the contact he suffered. And this is what happened with Toma a couple of laps later as Tarquini showed his prowess and made his way through. So Peugeot, Audi, Volkswagen, Hyundai and Honda. 5 different makes in the top 5. That's superb to see that TCR International, thanks to the balance of performance, means that regardless of what car you've got, if you're quick enough to pedal it and it's set up well, you can keep yourself up towards the front. So let's see what the 308 Racing Cup car, of course, because the 308 Racing Cup car has been adapted for TCR. Of course, the proper 308 TCR car will come later on next year. It was unveiled a few weeks ago recently in France. As Burri and Poti continue to run nose to tail. Now, Florian Thoma is holding station in P6 at the moment. Now, his next man to worry about behind him is going to be Giacomo Altoe, as he has also actually set the fastest lap of the race, which is a 1:21.033. So, on that lap, the only man that got near to that was actually Gabriele Tarquini. Of course, he was fractions away, about 7,000 slower. But the top four doing as the two Hondas and Tarquini did in race one, just pulling away to try and find some kind of a gap here as they come towards the end of the lap. This will be the end of lap 5. We've now dipped under 20 minutes. We've got 18.25 minutes to go, plus an extra lap. So on the lap which the timer ticks to 0, they'll get one more time around the 1.6 mile Adria International Raceway. And then that will be the do or die effort then. So the gap has really come down this time. You can see that Tarquini's taking advantage of the fact that the top three really aren't making any inroads on each other or working together to try and break away, because the gap's come down in one lap from what was a second down to 0.4. And Tarquini now just feeling a little bit racy. He's putting himself into Poti's mirrors, thinking, I'm still here, sunshine. Don't think you've got away with it too much. But that's a very well sorted car that Poti's got underneath him. The Belgian outfit WRT, who can engineer the international cars in Leopard Racing. And as they turn into turn 3 now, can Tarquini make any more inroads? So there's the confirmation of the result. The Hyundai mechanics watching on the pit wall, studying the data. And in effect, this really is more of a well-publicised test session for Hyundai, in a positive way, because, of course, they're developing the car in competition rather than just doing lap after lap after lap on their own. And this is a replay further back, and that's Sandro Pilati getting to the side of Lev Tolkachev. That will be looked at by the stewards, but that was a rather forceful pass from Sandro Pilati. What his fate will be down to the officials to decide that one. Now then, could we be seeing a bit more of a race developing here? Because Josh Files is just keeping in touch with Gabriele Tarquini at this point in 5th position. As behind them, I just saw Giacomo Altoe has now just displaced Florian Thoma. That was the P6. I spotted that in the backstop, so you can see the second of the Hondas is now up ahead of the pole sitter Florian Thoma, with Luigi Ferrara in the Alfa Romeo 8, then Francisco Abreu, and then Luca Engstler having a rather lacklustre weekend of it so far. I think he was hoping for more than just sitting in 10th place. He had those mechanical issues in race 1. Either they're still manifesting themselves or just really can't make any more progress up the order. He has just set his personal best lap of the race, 1:22.038, but that is practically a second behind the fastest lap overall set by Altoe a couple of laps ago. So we now approach 15 minutes left to go, and still no change in the top 4, keeping as it was as they fire it into the chicane of 4 and 5. Look at the freight train, one after the other. Almost a 16-wheel TCR car, they're that close. And Burri must be thinking he's got to find an opportunity somewhere. And he's raced in close proximity before. He's been a former Formula 4 driver, so of course racing this close wheel to wheel is something he's not used to. And this is contact further back. That's Ollie Kangas getting into it with Omar Dionisio. That was turn 1, and they did the dance again in turn 2, with Dionisio taking the position back this time. So that battle has happened there. Now then, just behind Tarquini, feels like the moment is right to make a pass. Looks up the inside of Maxime Poti into turn 1, gets it stopped under brakes. Poti gives him the space. Small rocket from Tarquini. Job done. One more. He's driving it to the front. Now then, next target is Antti Burri in 2nd place, but Antti Burri's won a race this season already in TCR Germany. He was 8th in the standings, and it's been his first season with the Audi, and already Tarquini is not letting up. He's putting the pressure on now as they exit turn 2. And he's looking to get up the inside potentially, flashing the headlights. And Files puts himself into Puti's mirrors again for turn 3. That's over P4. But nothing doing just yet. Still 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. And here's the replay. And the slightly more superior traction, coupled with Tarquini's guile and skill up the inside. And that was as simple as you like. Bumped over the curb, but didn't slow him down too much. So it's the final few corners of a lap, coming up to end lap 8 here in the 2nd race of the weekend for the TCR Europe Trophy. And Josh Files is getting a little bit tired of sitting behind Maxime Poti at this point in time, because he's now going to try and make a move, possibly down the end of the pit straight. He's close enough to be in the slipstream. These are 2 very well sorted cars by WRT and Target Competition. as ahead of them. I wonder, is that Tarquini lining up Anti-Buru for a pass? It is. Here he comes. He's going for it for P2. Thought about it as Josh Fars makes a dive up the inside. I got too overexcited as Putty holds on to 4th place, and now Josh Fars is coming under threat from his teammate Giacomo Altoe. Tarquini moves out to the outside towards turn 2, but Buri has it well covered, and this I have to say, it's superb effort so far by Aurélien Comte. There's a reason why he's a double champion in Peugeot racing. He's raced in One Make Series in Seats. He's raced it also in as well in Clio Cup, and holding on very nicely, but not holding on to 2nd place is Anti-Buri, as up the inside goes Gabriele Tarquini, and that's one more picked off after starting back in 10th position. Buri slots back in, and now Tarquini has got one more car left to go, and that is the car staring right in front of him, the white and black DG Competition Peugeot 308 Racing Cup of the Frenchman Aurélien Comte. But what can he do to try and close in, and what can anyone else behind him do? Now, is Buri going to come under attack from Putty, because he's been staring at the back of that Audi for most of the race. And don't count out the 2 Hondas just yet. Remember, of course, in the points, it's still a 1-2 for the target competition Hondas, with Putty just ahead of them. So Putty will take points away from them, but of course I don't think too many to the tune of where Fars or Alto will be displaced. Now then, Tarquini's already putting himself to the inside line, possibly cleaning up the track to set up a move, because some drivers will do that. They'll put themselves into the mirrors. As up the inside goes Josh Files. Oh, very close and makes contact with Anti-Buri. There's the pair of them tag. I think that's damaged the left rear suspension. Yes, look at the left rear of Anti-Buri. Now that could be crucial, because the stewards will have to have a look at that one. But that's Anti-Buri's car crabbing dangerously down the back straight. He's out of it. So that is his race, I'm afraid. Unfortunately come to a premature end after we've only just hit halfway. And I can't help but think maybe the stewards will have to have a serious word about that. But let's wait for them to make their decision rather than speculate. Meanwhile, oh, there's a bit more contact. Tarquini getting a bit forceful, saying, are you going to get on with it, Aurélien, or do I have to forcefully move you out the rest of the way, give you a little bit of help? I'm sure Tarquini's a little bit more wiser than that. He's not going to deliberately push someone out of the way. He's not the kind of driver he is. As they turn into turn 6. He's giving them the big hurry up now, up towards turn 7. Could be a look up towards the penultimate corner. But he really is making himself loom large in the mirrors. Here's the contact. This is down towards turn 1. Files dives up the inside. He goes for Putty. Now can't get it stopped. Oh, and just... I think his aim was to get past Putty, and then... yeah, just went too hot into the corner. But again, we'll let the stewards decide his fate there. Meanwhile, looks like Tarquini's deciding Comte's fate. He's thinking, right, no more messing around. I'm going for the lead. Up the inside now goes Gabriele Tarquini into turn 1, under brakes. Job done. That's it. So from 10th on the grid up to the lead of the race goes Gabriele Tarquini. Pretty much a carbon copy of what he did in China. Now the question is, he's done that now, but taking the lead is one thing, holding it to the flag is entirely another, particularly when you've got the 2 Hondas bearing down in 2nd and 3rd and 4th positions. Maxime Putty still in 5th place. There's Giacomo Altoe, 2nd in the point standings. And message on my screens, we see incident between cars 99 and 10 is under investigation. Of course, that is Buri and Josh Files, and that was the first part of contact between Tarquini and Comte. Just a tag on the right rear as they head back down towards turns 4 and 5, the chicane. Right, left, and then Comte now under massive pressure from Josh Files. Of course, Comte is 3rd in the points. Josh currently leads it, and already now Tarquini trying to scamper away at the front. But effectively, Comte will take the full points for 25 because, of course, Tarquini's car, again, will remind you, is not fully homologated. It's under a temporary homologation, which means in terms of point scoring, it's completely transparent. Tarquini will score no points for anything. So effectively, this is the battle for the maximum point score now between Aurélien Comte and Josh Files. Not taking away from Tarquini's phenomenal effort. It really is Comte versus Files for those maximum 25 points. But again, we have to wait and see what the stewards make of the contact with Anti-Buri. There's Giacomo Altoe in third place in terms of point scoring positions, 4th in the race overall. Still Maxime Putty in 5th. Florian Thoma, the pole sitter, still holding station in 6th place, ahead of Luigi Ferrara, Francisco Abreu, Luca Exler, and Giovanni Altoe, who still holds the advantage and the lead in the DSG class. So less than 10 minutes to go now. It's still battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Fars again, just moving around behind as Altoe watches on. And out of turn 3, this is further back in the order with a replay. 2 more cars getting amongst it. That was a bit of a close moment between Hermano Dionisio and Lev Tokalchev. getting close between second, third and fourth now, because Compt has got two very feisty Hondas, giving him the hurry up now as Tarquini tries to escape. He's got the gap out to 1.6 seconds to Aurélien Compt, who possibly is not probably the favourite person of the two Hondas right now, because he's allowing both of them to get away. But I think maybe Files and Altoe are realising that rather than let Tarquini get away too much and just chase after him, it's the points they're after. But I'm sure that guys like Josh Files want the glory and the bragging rights of winning outright. There is Tarquini, continuing to lead. Here comes Files again, looking up the inside. Tried this on Podium Presentations, it didn't end well at one point. Bumps the curb on the exit of turn one. But it's enough momentum, as even though Compt's wider line was all right to give him the initial momentum, Files has to slot back in, but Files did try to pull up alongside. Thinks about it again, up the inside into turn two, and also Altoe is queuing up. Compt looks too wide on the exit of the turn two. They're going to go side by side towards turn three. Compt will have the inside line for the right-hander at the hairpin, but is Files going to be confident enough to go around the outside? He'll try a cut back on the exit if there's a chance. And the Honda has got pretty good traction off the corner. It'll now be a drag race down towards the chicane. And it's a very, very tight chicane. You don't want to go too wide through here. Sort it out, boys. He has done. Josh Files up to P2, but that is maximum points. But that's temporary, because he's just been handed, as you can see at the top of the screen, a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. And that potentially could throw the TCR Europe Trophy point standings completely wide open. So this is the contact, this is the reason why he dived up the inside of Potty, tagged the left rear. It caused suspension damage to Burry's car. He's out of it. And the stewards, in their opinion, have deemed that that was something to be penalised. So straight away in comes Josh Files. He realises the sooner he takes the penalty, the better, because of course it'll leave him with 7 minutes plus a lap to sort it all out. Which means effectively now, once again, it's Aurélien Compt who'll take the maximum point scoring position. So as a result of this, this could actually work out nicely for his teammate Giacomo Altoe. So what could be Files' loss is Altoe's gain, and also possibly for Aurélien Compt, because coming into this race, it's Compt on 20 points, Altoe was on 27, and Files was on 35. Now, of course, depending if he can get himself back up into the top 10, he'll score a point, but I don't think it'll take away too much from the fact that he is going to lose the lead. So I guess really now the contest is between these two for the victory in the Europe Trophy Drivers' Contest. There's Tarquini, just spread-eagling the field in the lead. Meanwhile, this is the battle we have to watch out for. In fact, effectively, it is second, third and fifth in the point standings altogether now. Compt, Altoe and Putty, I'm sure they'll move up thanks to Josh Files' penalty. 6 minutes and a lap to go here at Adria International Raceway, and Altoe is not satisfied in staring at the back of that 308 any longer. Is he going to possibly think about a move here? But Compt is a very experienced driver. This is only Altoe's, I think it's his first proper full season in TCR. He's raced in the International Series, in Benelux, in the Italian Championship as well. He's driven 5 different TCR cars, including the Honda. So very much becoming a young TCR journeyman of sorts. He's had some superb teammates in the West Coast Racing outfit. Of course, he's been teammate to Gianni Morbidelli, another very skilled Italian driver who's got plenty of experience, including driving for Ferrari in Formula One. But Aurélien Compt is the man we're all looking at right now in P2, and no disrespect to Tarquini, it's a superb drive in what is only the car's second ever race weekend. Looks though it's on course to take its second ever race victory, but of course it's the points battle we have to look at, and it is these two that are going at it for the victory. So Tarquini's lead, for the record, is just over 3 seconds. In what is effectively, as we said, a well-publicised sort of extended and competitive test session, rather than just doing laps on your own. They're developing the car in a race environment. That's the best way to do it in race conditions. Maxime Putty's not too far away. He has won a couple of races in TCR Benelux before, so don't count him out just yet. We've got Florian Thoma in 5th position, Luigi Ferrara in 6th, then Francisco Abreu. Luca Engstler's up to P8. Josh Files is back up to 9th place, so possibly he could make some moves within the last few races, and possibly could try and negate and basically damage limitation for Josh now. He's got to try and back up as many places as he can in the last few minutes of the race, and he's already on the back of what looks to be, I think that's Luca Engstler I saw in the background, and they're scrapping over 8th. Still the fastest lap of the race held by Giacomo Altoe, 1:21.033. Lap time-wise, They're still lapping in the sort of mid to late 22s at the moment, so the pace has gone down ever so slightly. And you can see there's a bit of a haze as the late Italian afternoon starts to set in. Just under 4 minutes plus a lap to go here in race 2. And effectively, thanks to the drive-through penalty that Josh Farr's got for making contact with Antti Buri a few laps ago, it is now effectively this. What's intriguing, look at this. It is level on points if it stays like this right now. So I think potentially, Compt will win it on a countback, it seems. So Radian Compt could become the TCR Europe Trophy champion. But literally, the order of these cars is all important. So the graphic on the front, I appreciate that coming up on there, because effectively, if it stays like this, they will be level on points. But Compter will win it, because effectively he will get the 25 points. He'll have won, taken effectively a victory in terms of point scores. Altoe will have finished second twice. So this is all crucial here, because of course in race 1 it was Compt got the points for third, even though he finished fourth on the road. So this is all crucial. If Altoe wants to win this for himself and for target competition, they're pretty much, in many ways, ensured the team's competition, I think, target competition. But it's the driver's title that they want, and Compt right now, effectively, it's in his hands. But Altoe, the skilled young Italian that he is not going to let this line lie down too quickly. And his nervous times on the target competition wall as they watch on eagerly. For the record, Tarquini now has the gap out to 3.5 seconds, almost 3.6. But it's still 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 spots. Hyundai from Peugeot, from Honda, from Volkswagen. And then just outside the top 5 is Luigi Ferrara. He's 1.3 seconds behind Florian Thoma. So he locks up a little bit. He's getting closer and closer. He's virtually stuck underneath the rear wing of the Peugeot, down towards the chicane of turns 4 and 5. They throw it into the chicane, bumping over the curves. Have to watch the tyre stacks in the middle. You've gone a little bit too far if you bump one of those. Closing stages, and there is high drama now as we head up towards the end of a lap. And I think we're going to get possibly, let's look at the times, I think another 3 laps, I think, at the end of this one, because the lap times are roughly about 1 minute 21 or so. So I think we'll get this lap they're going on to, plus I think 2 more, because they'll cross the line, I think, with roughly about 15 to 20 seconds left to go, and they'll do 1 more lap after that when the timer hits 0. So on to lap 18 here at Adria. Still second, third and fourth on the road, but in the points result, it's Compt who'll take the max on 25 and will win the TCR Trophy for Europe. But still nervous times down on the pit wall for everyone involved. And Altoe possibly, if he is biding his time, he can't keep his power to drive for too much longer. He's got to pull the pin somewhere and look for a move to get through. Out of turn 2, slightly tighter line from Altoe. This now gives Compt the inside line for turn 3, and you can see he's already going defensive, sweeps across to take the racing line, as he's allowed to do. Altoe just tries to take a peek up the inside on the exit of turn 3, but still nothing doing. You have to say it's a very impressive move. This is the move here from Josh Farr. This is him getting past Francisco Abreu. That's him back up to P7. But as we said, for him, really, after the penalty, it's damage limitation for the Brit. So it looks as though, I'm afraid, he will not be adding a European title to his German and Middle Eastern success. So we're coming up to the penultimate lap of the race, and Altoe must possibly be listening, because he's now really starting to apply the pressure. He's held back as much as he can, but he knows with 2 laps to go, it is now or never. He has to make the move. But Compt will do everything he can to hold on. Tarquini still leads the race, and that's Plamen Kraljev that stopped, I'm afraid, with a technical problem. He's out of the race. And he was 11th, so he's now out of the running, unfortunately, just in the closing stages. Onto the penultimate lap. The timer will tick down to 0 just about now, so this will be the penultimate lap of the race. And Altoe has to find a way through somewhere. Has he got anything left in the tyres, anything left in the tank? Any more tricks left in the bag to try and make his way through? Tarquini's up the road and gone. There's been a warning flag out for car 39, which is Florian Thoma in 5th position. That's for not respecting track limits at turn 5. So that could be a penalty if he continues to do that in these late stages. Altoe looks to the outside to try and get past Compt. But still nothing doing. I'm not sure. I don't think Radian Compt expected too much to be able to take the title, but I'm sure he was up there to be in contention. And how much confidence would this give Peugeot going into next year with their brand new 308 TCR? They know that their Racing Cup car can win at Benelux level, it can win in the One Make Championships, and also win in endurance racing and at international level. Then in that case, their 308 TCR may bode very well, and I'm pretty sure that Aurélien Comte will be first in line with his hand up saying, I want to drive it for next year, and I'm sure that Peugeot will dearly want to capitalise on this, if it happens, to go for an international campaign. So, on to the last lap of the second race of the weekend, and this is the last lap of the TCR Europe Trophy. Tarquini leads, crossed the line by almost 3 seconds. He's backed off a tiny bit to consolidate the lead and not push too hard, but this is the main focus. It is Aurélien Comte in the Peugeot versus Giacomo Altoe in the Honda. Maxime Putic's not too far away in third place. We've still got Florian Thomas in fifth on the road, fourth in the point scoring, and just in the background there was Josh Files. He's not going to be close enough to close in to get past Luigi Ferrara. But whilst Tarquini's lead is admirable, and of course he's doing a fine job, this is the main focus here. About half a lap to go, and Altoe must be getting desperate here, thinking there must be somewhere that he can make a move. He looks to the inside, trying to put himself into Comte's mirrors, hoping that if he can try and distract him, it might possibly force a mistake. But so far, Aurélien Comte, he's a multiple champion in spec racing and in single make racing, so he knows how to handle pressure. He's won so many races before, and he may possibly be on course for glory. Last few corners of the race now, Comte will just about hold on. Altoe is throwing everything at it that he possibly can. But meanwhile, this man, there's a reason why he's European, World and British Touring Car Champion. As he comes out the final corner, it will be a superb victory for Gabriele Tarquini, who wins the second race in the TCR Europe Trophy. But across the line, Aurélien Comte is the 2017 TCR Europe Trophy champion, flashing the headlights and in absolute jubilation. Altoe comes across in third on the road, second in the results. It'll be Maxime Putic finishing fourth ahead of Florian Thomas and Luigi Ferrara, with Josh Files having to come through a resilient seventh. And flashing the headlights also, Giovanni Altoe, the red and white Volkswagen Golf that you saw just there. He will pick up the title for the DSG gearbox cars by coming home in 10th place. But there are your two winners, effectively. Tarquini wins the race, the second ever victory for the Hyundai. But there is your 2017 TCR Europe Trophy champion, France's Aurélien Comte, and the DG Auto Competition Peugeot 308 Racing Cup. And the Peugeot team absolutely delighted with that, and rightfully so. And as we said, if that's what the 308 Racing Cup car can do, one only has to wonder, what can the proper full-fat TCR machine achieve next year and beyond? So the drivers will then tour into the pit lane, and Comte now will just savour the moment that he is the champion. I'm pretty sure he was an outside bet for the title. Of course, there's no doubting his skill, but of course I know that people are looking at the likes of the two Hondas and also possibly the two Lippmann Enchler cars. Luigi Ferrara was a man in the mix as well, but in the end it all falls to a Peugeot to win it. Giacomo Altoe has to be happy. That should secure him second place. Well, they're level on points with that result, so he'll be very happy with that. And Josh Files, he'll feel a bit hard done by, but of course the stewards deemed that his move on Anti-Buri caused unnecessary contact, so because of that they deemed he had to serve a drive-through. I know that he was looking to try and add the European title to his list of achievements, but he'll have to come back next year and hopefully try and do it again, unless he does the international campaign that he wants to run, and if so, he might even be eligible. We'll have to wait and see. But there it is, confirmation. Aurélien Comte, the 2017 TCR European Trophy champion, car number 7. And what a way for potentially the Peugeot to sort of bow out as a main TCR car for Peugeot when the 308 comes in. But there is your race winner. Gabriele Tarquini brings it in, and the Hyundai team very pleased with that. They may not score any points, but a win's a win, and the team very happy with that one. So the drivers will then gather up on the podium shortly. We'll do podium presentations to cover the top 3 overall in the European Trophy contest, and also they'll be the same for the DSG gearboxed cars. But here is the champion, Aurélien Comte. I suspect there'll be a very large outburst of French emotion. There's the confirmation of the points as Tarquini celebrates on top of the bonnet, and that's another one notched up for Hyundai, as it should be. But Comte exits the car a little bit subdued, I think, after his victory, but I'm sure that there'll be an outburst of emotion any moment now with the fact that he has confirmed his champion. Yep, small thumbs up. It's a little bit... for someone who's just won the European Trophy champion, he is rather calm, isn't he? He's sort of expected to be jumping up and down on top of the car, but even so, I think he's taking it all in his stride, and I think it's well deserved for the Peugeot team and for Aurelian after a lot of hard work with that car. But for Gabriele Tarquini and the Hyundai team, the development continues for BRC Racing Team, and of course they'll go to Dubai now for the International Series. Thumbs up from Gabriele, he's happy with that one. And again, that one was another fighting drive from 10th on the grid. So almost a carbon copy. Look at Aurelian, you wouldn't even think he's won the championship. He's probably just won the race, and either that or he just hasn't had the result he wanted. But I'm sure that he's feeling some sort of positive emotions after that one. Giacomo Altoe is happy with that one, as he gets a hug from his team and his family. And Giacomo certainly then is one to watch for next season, particularly in international circles. He's been mainly driving the Volkswagen Golf this year with West Coast Racing alongside Gianni Morbidelli. Played celebrations. He gets a hug as well. I think that's from one of the other Italian competitors in the order. But here's the classification and the confirmation of the race 2 result. Tarquini wins the race with for 1.7 seconds, but Aurelian Comte in second place takes the points and is the European Trophy champion. From Giacomo Altoe in third, Maxime Putti in fourth, Florian Thoma in fifth. From Luigi Ferrara, Josh Fowles a disappointed seventh after his penalty after the contact with Antiburi. Then Abreu, Engstler and Giovanni Altoe rounds up the top 10. Also the first DSG car home in the bottom end of the top 10. Sandro Pilati picked up 11th place ahead of Hermano Dionisio, then Lev Tolkachev, Denis Grigoriev, Oli Kangas and Daniel Eli Capellari. And the 3 cars that didn't make it through were Plamen Kralev and Antiburi, who both retired, and Kevin Giacon, quite frankly, simply never even started the race, unfortunately. Turbocharger problems proving too much. Well, Giacomo Altoe gets a thanks from his teammate Josh Fars. I'm sure he'll be very disappointed, but of course he'll be back, and showed some great pace out there. And I'm sure that if he is moving into TCR International or beyond, if that is his ambition, he'll be able to do that very well. But the top 3 in the race pose for the photo. And I'm sure that there'll be many celebrations later on in the Peugeot outfit. And then the driver's just awaiting the podium process. So as we said, there is a drivers and a teams contest. And here's the confirmation for the drivers' points. Comte and Altoe level on points, but Comte gets it because effectively he did take the maximum 25, and effectively that is a win in some cases. Altoe level on that. Fowles was back just 2 points. If he made up a couple more spaces, it could have been a bit different, but that's how it is after the penalty. Putti gets third with 31 points, or fourth with 31 points, I should say. Then Thoma in fifth with 25. Ferrara 20 on sixth position. Then Burri, Engstler, Abreu and Giovanni Altoe. Then Capellari. Giacon only got the 5 points despite not starting either race. Then Grigoriev, Kansas, Kralev, Tolkachev, Pilati and Dionisio, the 18 drivers that scored points. Well, no doubt that the efforts of Giacomo Altoe certainly did help target competition. They came into race 1 with a gap of 18 points to DG Sport Competition. But the points I'm pretty sure that Giacomo and Josh will have scored, I believe, guarantees target competition. That's a bit more like it from Aurelian, a bit more emotion from him, as they've now realised he is the champion. And Giacomo Altoe, even though he's level on points, will know that he did just as good a job, and is a name to watch, as we said, for 2018, whatever he does in TCR circles. So all the personnel gathering underneath the podium, and there'll be some celebrations, I'm sure. They'll be handing out the trophies and also some spraying of champagne, I'm sure. But despite the fact that Honda, Volkswagen, Seat, also as well in the mix, we had Opel, Alfa Romeo and everyone else, it was Peugeot that came to the top. And Aurelian Comte got the job done and kept his cool whilst everyone around him lost theirs. So that's a victory which Peugeot will surely take into next year. And as for Tarquini, he'll be very happy for next year also. Of course, that means it's confirmation that the Hyundai is a very, very strong car, that the BRC Racing Team, a very strong outfit. And if he does elect to do possibly a full season, it should be intriguing. So we're going to get some highlights of race 2 in a few moments' time. We'll be able to quickly talk you through that a little bit. And we can talk you through what happened and the story of race 2 and how Aurelian Comte took the title here in the TCR European Trophy. So race race 2 looks like this. It was Florian Toller on the front row, the good for Aurélien Comte. Gabriel Tarquin starting back in 10th place. Lots of anticipation for who was going to take the title in race number 2 with the reversed top 10. Lots of the likes of Terry and Files in the mix, as well as Gabriel Tarquini looking for the race victory. So we'll down to the all-important start to see who would take the full advantage. So we're all getting set for the podium presentations now for the 2017 TCR Europe Trophy. Where we'll get to welcome the top 3 onto the podium in the overall point standings, as well as the teams. And also we'll get the DSG competitors up onto the rostrum as well. I'm sure there'll be many celebrations, probably a lot of champagne flying around, as is the courtesy in motor racing circles. And here are the drivers in the holding room just before the podium. So I think they're going to bring them forwards. And, of course, looking forward to the rest of the TCR season. Of course, it's not over just yet. We've still got the international title to settle with the final couple of rounds in Dubai. Hyundai will be there with Gabriel Tarquini and Alain Menu, as well as the likes of Attila Tashi and also John Carvenet. They'll be going toe-to-toe for the title. And Venet will have support in the form of Gordon Shedden, who's making his way up from the British Championship in touring car circles. And, of course, speaking of British circles, of course, next year we have hopefully some drivers for next year's competition will be coming from TCR UK, which kicks off next year as well. So some famous circuits they'll take in, including Brands Hatch, Donington Park and Silverstone. And hopefully drivers like Josh Fars and even the likes of Rob Huff, Gordon Shedden, James Nash and Daniel Lloyd, all putting TCR on the map for the UK around the world in the various regional, national and international championships. And then, of course, next year, they get a taste of it themselves. And who knows, maybe some of their top competitors could be here as well, vying for the title of Best in Europe for TCR. So you can see the podium is all ready and set to go. The TCR Europe grid girls are also up there waiting to welcome the drivers up, as is a multitude of silverware. And be some very valuable silverware to take home into the airport tonight, I'm pretty sure, for some of them. Still no sign of the drivers yet. I do find with drivers, when they come to get their trophies, they like to talk a lot before they get their trophies, and I thought it's the other way around in terms of you get your trophy first and then you'd start talking. But unfortunately, as I know personally, and some of us from back in the UK know with some club racing circles, sometimes they talk about the move they did and then forget, oh, I've got a trophy to pick up. So they actually go and do that afterwards after I wait for about 5 minutes. As Josh Files makes his way onto the podium, 3rd place overall in the point standings. He took the maximum points from race 1 after finishing 2nd. After winning the race and taking the maximum points. His teammate Giacomo Altoe comes onto the podium in 2nd place. Of course, he's equal with the man who took the top step, but even so, it should be a good looking for target competition. But the TCR Europe Trophy champion for 2017 is DG Sport Competitions, Aurélien Comte, car number 7 in the Peugeot. And he takes the top step to the applause of his teammates and his fellow drivers, and also the massed crowd below him. And now the French national anthem for the winning driver. applause from down below the podium as the French national anthem rings out around the Adria International Circuit. And the trophy presentations are about to get underway. So first of all, the trophy for third place is presented to Target Competitions' Josh Files. I'm sure he'd dearly love to take the winner's trophy, but it wasn't to be on this occasion. But he'll be back next year in TCR, pretty sure in the German Championship, and who knows, international and further beyond. Second place to his teammate, Giacomo Altoe, very well deserved. Even though he finished level on points, it's the countback on results that counts, and he'll be very pleased with that success. But the championship trophy will be held aloft by Frenchman Aurélien Comte for DG Sport Auto Competition and for Peugeot. And he holds the trophy aloft with a broad smile on his face, as expected. And also the team's trophy goes to Target Competition, who confirmed themselves as the TCR Europe Team Trophy Teams Champions for 2017. After a superb combined effort from Josh Files and Giacomo Altoe in their pair of Honda Civics. And I think all the drivers are waiting for something in particular, because of course there's a bit of a clue in there too as well. I think we're going to get some, possibly a chat to drivers. They're all going to move to the top step of the podium and pose for the obligatory photographs. And of course these will go all over the websites, of course on the TCR Europe website and on social media everywhere. Of course, the story will show that Aurélien Comte is the champion. I think it's time for the all-important champagne shower on the podium. And immediately, they go to basically all just aiming it everywhere. But they've got to save some for later, of course. But the two Target drivers having a fight amongst themselves. But even so, Aurélien Comte is a little bit more reserved. But even so, he deserves it nonetheless. So it'll be intriguing to see what these three get up to next year in TCR circles. We'll be watching very keenly, of course, and all the news for that will be on social media for TCR, on Facebook and on Twitter, as well as the TCR series websites of the various national, regional and international championships around the world. Confirmation of the points again, Aurélien Comte winning on countback with this one, with Giacomo Altoe winning it in second place, Josh Files in third, with Potti, Thomas, Ferrara, Burri, Engstler, Abreu and Altoe rounding out the top 10. It's been an incredible weekend here for the TCR Europe Championship as we look to the rest of the results. So congratulations to Aurélien Comte, who wins the title. Thanks for watching wherever you've been around the world. And until next time, I've been Scott Woodwis, and from all of us at Italy, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.